Today's episode is sponsored by NordVPN. The world is crazy, and the internet is even crazier. There is some dangerous, no-good, dirty dog villains on that web. But NordVPN's got your back. They have threat protection from ads, trackers, and malware. They have global coverage with over 5,000 servers worldwide. They also offer dark web monitoring so that those dirty dogs I was talking about can't sell your information to the black market. Right now, NordVPN is having a special. If you click on the link below, you'll get 59% off a 2-year plan, and there's a little gambling involved. You'll also get either 3 months free or a full extra year. NordVPN, keeping you safe in crazy times. All right, let's get into it. Hey, Catalyst crew. Welcome to Catalyst Corner, episode 42. It's Thursday, so we've got Jim F0123 Art on with us, and yeah, let's get into it. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
You know,
yeah,
I'm alive.
Yeah, it is a winter wonderland outside today.
I got to shovel.
Yeah. Oh, that's always fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good.
It's gross.
It is gross.
You know?
You have to get out there and brush your car off so that you can take a ride anywhere and
I had to
trudge through
drop
that.
the orders off today.
Yeah.
You know, I'm out there. It's cold. The dogs love it.
Sure.
But just the worst.
Yeah, awful.
And I'm a heavier guy, so I'm shoveling the snow and I'm thinking, uh-oh.
Yeah, you're gonna have a heart attack and you're gonna be buried right in that snowbank.
They're gonna just find me
that's
face
all.
down in the snowbank.
Yeah.
But I've accepted, my heaviness.
Sure.
But I talked to Paul about this on the last episode a little bit. And then I've done some research, so I want to kind of run it by you and see sort of where you stand on all this. So I don't know if you were a fan of some of the classics like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, yes.
Or The Witches.
Yes.
I love The Witches.
Oh. I'm even a big fan of Matilda.
Yeah, Matilda, great. His body of work, even he has a couple of short stories that are written for adults.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible guy, like a jerk.
Sure.
But,
I mean, again, not gonna say that this was a saint.
No, not by any
who wrote
means.
this, but he wrote books for children that children could definitely get into. It's a child escapism.
Well, the thing what I liked about his writing as a kid, right, is that if you read The Witches,
yes,
so to speak, there's a line in The Witches that says, the witches wear gloves and wigs because they're bald, right, in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't just run around pulling wigs off of anyone wearing gloves. I mean, try and see what happens, right? Like almost daring you to do it. It was dangerous as a kid, right? And it's just that was exciting because it's he's talking to you like you would talk to a peer.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
And that was different than what other authors were doing.
Sure. Definitely was.
So the estate, originally I had thought they had just edited out fat.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
That is not the case.
They are rewriting that line I was telling you about. That's gone now.
Gone.
And I take a little bit of an issue with that.
Oh, I take a lot of issue with all of what's going on.
So here's my biggest gripe, right? This isn't like a George Lucas situation where he says, I want to make these changes. Dahl's dead.
Right.
So it's not even he's not consenting.
Right. My thing is this.
Just to be clear, this happened last year. These books have been out since 2022.
Right. But I feel that no one has the right to touch genius literature. You don't have that right. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the estate. I don't care if you're Netflix that is now the owner of the property. You don't have the right to change the original. Now, again, if you want to make the Netflix shows and you want to make those changes, you have the right to make those changes on your show.
Right, but
you don't have the right to change the literature.
Right, this is the text.
Right, the printed word that in these books, that's sacred. You or no one besides the man himself has that right. And for
that
you to
doesn't sit
do
well
it,
with me at all.
No. But did you hear what the French publisher said? Yeah, there ain't no way we're doing that.
Right, because they get it.
Right, exactly.
You can't. That would be like if they went back and they said we're going to change Tolkien's works to make some of the problematic things less problematic.
Yeah. Like no, you can't do that.
No one's changing Tom Sawyer.
No. And the thing is, what troubles me is, look, if you have such a problem with it, then let the property go out of print and stop producing it if it's so problematic. But no, you're not going to do that because, of course, they're padding your wallet.
Right.
So, of course, you're not going to do that.
Right.
But,
well, I think what's interesting, right, is, and we talked about this a little bit, is all of the backlash from Hogwarts Legacy. Mm-hmm. And I think what we're seeing is that game is kind of the watermark of sort of this, activism, this cancel culture activism, because it's successful.
Oh, very successful.
Right. To a degree of they're talking about franchising it, and, which is good for them because they did a great job with it. But I think what's happening now is the general populace is saying, all right, enough.
Yeah.
Like we understand we want you to have rights, but you can't just run around canceling things, because you don't want them.
Or making threats or making again,
calling people Nazis.
Right. And all of a sudden, when legal threat happened, you backed right down and made your apologies because, again, you take it so far to the extreme. Where do you get off insulting somebody like that and calling somebody that?
Well, here's the thing.
With nothing to back it up.
I've been very public about how I think J.K. Rowling is off base with a lot of the stuff she's doing. I don't think she's a Nazi.
There's nothing that she's done that would make you even think there's any ties to that.
If she got on a podcast or even an interview on the TV and said, I want to eradicate all trans... Sure, that makes you a Nazi.
Now all of a sudden it's a different territory.
Right. But and again, I think her opinions are wrong.
Sure.
But she is entitled to them.
Right.
And, I just think taking a stance of calling people who aren't Nazis is dangerous.
Right. And I said this on the last podcast, and I'll say it again. She's not alone in her thought, and she's not alone in that opinion. So again, I don't think there's anybody that would support what the Nazis did and what Hitler was doing.
Well, there are, though. There are people that support it.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, anybody quote-unquote good wouldn't support it.
But there are good people that are of the same mindset of what J.K. Rowling is saying. And whether you and I disagree with that statement or her stance, there are people, and that not lunatics, but people that believe that, in the same way that she does, and they're entitled to that opinion. But to sit there and categorize them as some of the worst people that have ever stepped foot on the face of this planet is outright ridiculous. And you do deserve to have the threat of legal action. And I'm glad they backed down.
There was that Twitter incident, right? And she did kind of flex a little bit.
She came at them hard.
Because like her or not, right? And that I don't particularly care for the woman. She has all the money.
Right.
So it's like you're never going to win.
No. But, there's no one that should be supporting that stance. The stance that the activist took to call her that. No one should be supporting that. You can support the fact that you think differently of the trans community than she does, and you'd be right that, you know, her thought isn't necessarily the best thought process when it comes to the trans community. But to sit there and call her a Nazi, I don't think anybody should support that. And I'm glad that that was taken care of, because we're going too far now. We're taking it way too far. We think that we have unlimited protection behind a keyboard, that we can just do whatever we want.
Armchair warriors.
Right, exactly.
Is what it is. And I've said this to you. I said, you know, I think it's very interesting that the only thing that's being boycotted is this game.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to Universal Studios.
Right.
Nobody's going to Lego, you know, things of that nature. But to roll it back to Doll, right, because it's all kind of related.
Sure.
Right? There is no situation where I think text, especially of these classics, should ever be touched.
But here's the and I'm 100% in agreement with you that it should never. You do not have the authority.
They changed a
or
lot.
the privilege. They changed a lot of.
I thought
books.
initially when I talked to Paul, I thought they just went through and they did like a fat phobia type of thing.
Yeah, no.
Which, like I said, I'm a heavy guy. I'm fat as fuck.
But
it is what I'm saying is that that's okay. But just, you know, I don't want you to get rid of the word fat.
But here's the thing. The books are out there. The movies are out there.
Right.
That language is out there. And if you and most families have already shown that to their children, and most children have been brought up on these books and these movies, and that language has been a part of it, and it's not problematic. You know, to sit there now, why do we have to make it for the modern audience? I understand. Yes, we know we live in a culture now where it's not just mother and father, but why is that not okay to keep in there? Why do we have to say parents? Because now we have to encapsulate everybody that could be parents.
So
it's not that big of a deal.
The thing is this, right? Is that if you want to write something now, I think you should be inclusive.
Sure.
You should say parents.
Now.
But if you can't look at the works and say, well, this was of a time. This was the thought process
right
back then. You can't rewrite history.
Exactly. And again, the children of modern day are going to understand the difference. They're going to understand it's a different time.
The children of today, though, are leagues ahead of the children back then.
Of course they are. Not even close.
IQ is not rapidly, but steadily increasing. And I think, you know, if a child is reading Doll, right, and they can understand it, then I think they're fine.
Right.
I don't think they're not going to start running around and pulling wigs off of people.
No. And again, it was look.
I remember sitting there and reading that line and going like, fuck you, I know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because it was like talking to your buddies.
Right. But here's the thing there are bullies on the schoolyard.
Yep.
They always have been. They always will be.
Right.
Do you think that taking the word fat out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is all of a sudden going to stop that from happening on the schoolyard? Of course it's not.
And even if it does, they're just going to find something else.
Right. It's not what you're doing is not actually solving anything. You're not making it where it's inclusive. You're changing the works and the words of a genius that put out stories that every family has loved and shared for generations, and you have the balls to sit there and touch that literary work and think that that's okay and that no one's going to have a problem with it. That is a travesty.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, crazy.
It's really, really bizarre. And I don't know if it's just they're just patting themselves on the back or what it is. You know, like a great grandson or something. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. No, seriously, go fuck yourself.
Done? What have you contributed to this work? Nothing.
Nothing.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah, very.
All right, let's get off of Doll. He's
okay.
dead.
Yeah.
Have you watched anything?
Yeah, per your recommendation, I watched The Menu.
What'd you think?
I enjoyed it.
was good,
I did.
right?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't what I was expecting.
No.
You know, I was, you know, and again, a lot of tense situations. And not tense to when she was in The Witch and you're that tense.
No,
but tense to the
here's
fact.
the thing: is that The Menu's. I wouldn't classify it as a horror movie. It's
nor
more
would
of a
I.
thriller,
Right.
A satire,
Yeah.
a comedy, dark comedy thriller.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely not horror.
No.
But you know, when it was revealed kind of who she was, right?
Right.
And that whole thing of, hey,
You're with us.
yeah, and you're with us, and then her date basically is like, oh yeah, I knew what I was getting into.
By the
and
way, Nicholas Hoult, who plays the date, or Holt, or whatever his name is, that kid's got some range.
yeah, he does. He does. I mean, the thing is, he went from you thought he was a good guy at the beginning, and then then all of a sudden it's like a complete 180 where this is just a complete asshole who deserved what he got.
Oh my goodness, that when they made him cook, huh?
Yeah. Oh, just, you know, and that whole thing where it's like, oh yeah, I knew that we were coming here. I knew that we were going to die, and I knew that she was going to die, and I invited her because my date, you know, my girlfriend left me, and I needed a date, and it's like, what you
condemn someone to die.
yeah, and it's like, just because you wanted to taste their food.
Right.
Like, it was that important for you to taste the food and be a part of that you condemned somebody to death.
Right, like probably the worst guy, aside from obviously the chef.
Right.
One of the worst people in the show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was that I would have figured that he was, one of the ones that would probably survive, right? I'm thinking they must somehow escape, right? And I didn't realize. And then when at the end, when she was allowed to leave, I'm thinking she's got to go back and save those people, right? Like, and it's like, oh no, she just watched them all burn to death. Like, wow. Like, okay, I'm watching them all die as I sit here enjoying my hamburger. Yeah. It was crazy.
What'd you think though? Good, right?
I enjoyed it. I
give it high praise because, like I said to you, when I watched it, I was posting 5 products a day, nose to the grindstone, and then I watched it and I was like, I got to slow down.
Yeah,
because it's true. It does. When you turn it into a machine like that, you lose passion.
Yeah, you do, and then you got people that are trying to, make your life a little bit miserable, right? You got that one woman who did the reviews, right? And it's like,
right, like,
don't you try to pretend you're my friend, but then you're also.
See, the thing of it is this, though. The only thing that I think is kind of interesting is that the chef does, Slovak or whatever his name is, he does have a victim complex, I think. Because the truth of it is, this is on you as much as it's on anyone else.
Sure.
Like, you had a symbiotic relationship with that parasite.
Mm-hmm.
She helped you get to where you're at. You wanted to take it to this level where normal people can't have your food.
Right.
The society that we live in, and you're playing the game. So, that was something I thought was kind of interesting, is that he does have points, but he is a very flawed villain. Villain.
Yeah.
Great villain.
Yeah. No. In that, it's unlike, again, he didn't have, not like Thanos, right? Where even though he was wrong, in his mind, he thought he was doing it for the greater good. This guy was not that type of villain.
No, he was punishing.
Yeah. He was absolutely punishing for perceived slights that were given.
There were just so many moments, right, that because I was tense as I watched it. I worked in a kitchen.
Sure.
And the comedy would shine through, like when they're running because they're trying to escape, and the last guy gets the treat.
Yeah.
Or when the girl's like, well, why am I here? Where'd you go to school? Brown? Student loans? Nope. Yeah, you're dying.
Right.
Like, come on. There were just moments that,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean it's worth the watch. Definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, horror. It's great. I mean, I look at how it was in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. There are not flicks, to the caliber of what's coming out right now.
Right.
It's crazy.
I've just been enjoying that the movies that we've been talking about lately have some twist to it.
Yeah.
You're not. There's things that happen that you're not expecting.
It's not the formula.
Right. It's not the formula.
Because we're so formulaic now.
Right. Exactly.
So I watched something too.
Okay. What do you got?
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, because you can't call it Ant-Man 3, God forbid.
No, you can't.
No.
You're going to call it Flopomania.
It was so... Do you know what it kind of feels like? Is almost like going to McDonald's.
Yeah, okay.
That's what it is at this point. It's like, oh yeah, this is my, 300th quarter pounder. Yeah, It tastes okay, but you know exactly what's in it. You know how it's going to taste. I don't understand who's writing these female leads with these, like, the personality is the same in Willow.
Yes.
It's just these fucking people. Like, who's relating to that?
Right. Everybody has got to be just an awful person that, think for whatever reason, and this is what I don't get. It's, here's all this stuff that you've done. I've done nothing, but I'm better than you.
Right.
Like you have nothing compared to what I've done. It's like, you do realize what I have done, right? It doesn't matter. I've done what I've done.
Right, like I've saved the world.
Yeah. And
he's getting lectured by his teenage daughter.
And I held up a sign.
Right.
So cool, we're the same, right? I'm better, actually.
It's just, it's so strange to me that this is the direction that they're going in.
Yeah.
And I think what's really disappointing is, so the best part of the film was Kang.
Sure.
Like, far and away.
Yeah, and that would be expected.
And yeah, Jonathan Majors is great.
Right.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he felt like a Kang. It's not Thanos level.
Sure.
But it's acceptable.
Yeah, it's a threat.
The worst part of the movie, by far and away, MODOK.
Oh.
It was so...
Yeah.
Dude, taking the story out of it, because like whatever, MODOK's kind of one of those characters where you can kind of fit his origin into to whatever,
right?
The way that they kind of so he's they make jokes and shit, and it's fucking, the animation is awful.
Yeah, the CGI is awful in this.
Like, it's incredible that they thought that was passable.
Yeah.
So you have Corey Stoll just as a head, right? And they, and again, MODOK in the comics is dangerous.
Yes, very.
And not so much in this. He's just there for comedic relief.
Yeah,
they
which
make fun
is
of his
not,
arms. And, and at the end of the day, the way that he turns to the light is because he's told not to be a dick.
Sure.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all. That was easy enough.
And so, the post-credit scenes, like, they're trying to hype him up. It's not that exciting.
No, again, you got, they just moved the Marvels out of the summer because
it's probably a garbage film.
They know they're in trouble. There's no doubt. Disney now knows Feige is, whatever vision Feige had is gone.
Well, where do you even go? Like, honestly, in all honesty, where do you go? You're going to do Kang? Okay, sure. That's fine. But until you start doing, like, the one thing Feige got on, because he knows he's in trouble.
Oh, yes.
He said, Deadpool's going to be R. So he confirmed that.
Sure.
Because he has to.
Right.
At this point.
Yeah, but again, that's a year away. You still have to get through this year to get to that.
The Marvels is gonna bomb.
Oh, it's terrible! It's gonna terribly bomb.
What? Who's the bad guy? Right.
I don't even know because
Right.
because none of them have an actual villain.
Well, I really thought Kang was going to be. I was kind of like, that's the only reason why I watched it. Is I was like, oh, Kang, cool. But like I said, if you watch Loki, you're fine.
Yeah.
You don't even need to see this because there's no fucking consequences or anything.
Yeah. But here's the thing. And again, we talked about this last time. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was supposed to be a Phase 4 movie.
Yeah.
They had to get away from Phase 4, but it is a Phase 4 movie. But what made you think that to start Phase 5, this was the movie you were going to choose? A C-level character.
Oh, it's just the incompetence at this point.
Yeah.
I think what's really interesting is I think Feige had a great idea with Favreau and Iron Man and sort of seeing to fruition Infinity War.
Yeah, but
The Infinity Saga.
But he had Favreau to start, and then he had the Russo brothers
Finish it.
to help finish.
Right. But he rested on his laurels with that.
Right.
And most of it was already written, and there are more flops than hits in the Marvel cinematic.
Oh, absolutely there are.
And then when they did that D20 where they announced like Moon Knight and all that sort of stuff, I saw the slate, right, for Phase 4, and it was like 90% television.
Right.
And I was like, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah, that's because they wanted to make Disney Plus a thing.
Yeah, but the other problem now is this, right? Is that people have Disney Plus. You think I'm going to go to the fucking movie theaters when I'm paying for Disney Plus? You're out of your fucking mind.
Right.
Pick.
Yeah. Yeah, no. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is in serious trouble because they no longer have anybody to steward this ship. Feige has no vision. He had a vision, but the thing too is,
well, I think he had a vision,
right? But he
it's
had
just
a vision.
It's a shitty vision.
Yeah, but on top of having that vision, right, which he had with help from a lot of other people that were more talented than him.
After the Infinity Saga, I think he had a vision.
Oh no, he had a vision.
I just think it was a shit vision.
Oh no, absolutely. But on top of that, what you got was in the first 3 phases. Your favorite Marvel characters coming to life.
Yeah. Well,
you had that luxury.
That was the novelty of it, right?
You don't have that anymore.
No, we've seen it.
We've seen it all. Now you're bringing to life your C and D level characters. Yes, of course we're going to get another Fantastic Four. We're going to get the X-Men. Deadpool's going to come in. So there are still some A-level characters that are yet to be seen in the MCU. But
the problem
is so much garbage to get there that I don't even know if that's even I don't even know if it's salvageable, and then I don't know that you can. When you do get to them, you're not the guy to lead that. You're gonna ruin those characters, and you only have one shot to make these characters worth something.
Do you know what the smartest play I think at this point would be? Honestly, I think that you stop trying to connect everything and start telling comic book movies. Go back to how it was at the beginning, because it's so convoluted. You know what it is if you look at the last like 4 or 5 Marvel movies, the color palettes are all the same. It's all space and fucking nebulas and all that bullshit.
It's all total green screen,
right?
CGI mess.
So the thing of it is that I think the smart play would be just start telling isolated stories again. Not everything has to be connected.
Yeah, but yes, I agree, and you have to start finding the best people to make these movies. Not the best people that fit in your box, the best people total, whoever that might be. And I don't care if it's a white guy, a white woman, a black guy, whatever. I don't care. It's got to be the best people that you can find to help fix this. Because if you're going to keep limiting yourself to your checkbox, you're never going to fix your problems.
The thing of it is this, is that their choice is basically this. You can keep going down this path and you will lose the company. Or you can be these genius, quote unquote, billionaire fucking CEOs that like to say they're so much better than the rest of us. Use your fucking business acumen and make a decision that doesn't cause your company to burn up in flames.
Right. And the thing is too, you're watching the heads of these departments destroy your IPs.
Like if I'm Iger and I got sucked back into this, and it was probably some bullshit stipulation in his contract that said he had to come back, I would be furious.
Right. I'd be, because these were the people that were there.
Right. I said, watch the throne. And I come back and everything's on fire.
Right. And so what, you're gonna allow these people to continue down the path that they've chosen and watch these IPs become irredeemable? Again, I don't know what they, we're talking about all these new Star Wars properties popping up again, and we're hearing, oh yeah, we're going to get Daisy Ridley back, and it's going to be her and Grogu is going to be the new movie. And it's like, who the hell? Come on. Saying it out loud is losing money.
That's corporate speak.
Right.
They're just using buzzwords. Oh yeah, Baby Yoda.
Right.
You know Baby Yoda. It's like, yeah, but what's the fucking story? Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Except, it'll sell, the merchandising. Except you go to the stores right now and that stuff is covered in layers of dust with tons of it on the shelves because no one wants it anymore.
The thing of it is this, right? I know they were talking about like Velma potentially getting a season 2, but then they shut that down, I believe.
Well, the thing is, but only because. Well, did you hear the reason why they said that the season 2?
No.
Because they wrote some of it in season 1.
Who cares?
No. But that's the only thing. That's the point. Is that?
Yeah, but that's what they're doing with Witcher too. Is they're like, oh well, we're going to film 4 and 5
but
back.
It's just like you just said. It's buzzwords. They wrote some stuff at the beginning of when they were writing season 1, they wrote for season 2.
But the
so
thing
then
is
somebody
this,
says,
right?
"Oh, so we're going to get a season." No, you weren't getting a season 2.
You were never getting a season 2. Never. And the thing of it is that if Warner Brothers were to do a season 2, they deserve the hemorrhage of viewership that they would get.
But here's the thing: if based upon what happened with Velma and just the pure hatred across the board,
right,
then you deserve even more criticism for not releasing Batgirl. Because if you're gonna put money into Velma season 2, which Velma season 1, as we know, the worst flop in animated history.
It was just bad. It was bad from a million different angles.
Then why? Then I want to see Batgirl. Then
I don't.
I no, but again, you don't. If you're going to sink money into that, if your reasoning behind it was, well, we didn't want to lose money and we didn't want to get a bad name, but you're going to do a season 2 of Velma after that piece of shit, then no, fuck it. You don't deserve anything.
Well, it's interesting because the 2 hits that Warner Brothers has kind of swirling around, well, the 3, I should say, all 3 hits for them right now, you have Last of Us.
Yep.
Which...
big hit.
The Last of Us to me is the crown jewel of balance. Mm-hmm. And then you have House of Dragon.
Yeah.
And you have Hogwarts Legacy.
Right.
All 3 Warner properties.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 things that they should be banking on.
Right.
You can have the inclusivity with Last of Us, and Hogwarts Legacy has diversity and inclusivity without it being garbage, without it being Velma, without it being like a Willow.
Right, but see, you have, and now Warner Brothers has no excuse, right? So, and this is going to pertain to DC and we'll talk about that here in a second. But based upon the fact that you have the roadmap now, you have no excuses.
Right, you have 3 properties that have diversity and inclusion. That meet that check off corporate's check boxes, but are done correctly.
Right.
The fans love it. Follow that blueprint.
Right.
Every single one of them should be following that blueprint.
Exactly. There should be no excuses made from this point on, when you have three, I mean, realistically, you put out 4 things,
Right.
and one was a massive flop.
One was as bad as it could
right.
be.
So,
But the other 3 were
and the other
incredibly
right.
successful.
So you have everything you need to know. David Zaslav has everything he needs to know going forward of what to do. And every person that is associated with any Warner Brothers property, that they have the blueprint. And Zaslav should be forcing them to follow it to the letter. No excuses.
Right. Here are our 3 home runs. This is where your stories need to fall.
Right.
It's just very, very interesting to me, you know. And then they just announced that Amazon is going to make Spider-Man noir.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the thing of it is
if
this,
they get
right?
Nick Cage to actually
Oh my
play
God,
the live
I would
action,
lose
I'm
my
totally in.
mind.
Totally in.
But I'm confused because I can't 100% in good conscience be like, oh yeah, Amazon knows what they're doing.
Right.
Because they're talking about adapting God of War.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to do this Spider-Man noir, and all I can do is look at Rings of Power and say that was a failure.
Oh, total failure.
So like, I don't have any faith in you.
No, unless you hire somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. And if you do that, and if you get somebody that, like they did with The Last of Us, knows how to be true to the source material.
But what's interesting about Last of Us, right, is that's a pillar for Sony.
Right.
And Sony was directly involved.
Sure.
So I'm wondering, like, if Sony didn't care as much about that, but God of War is another pillar.
Right.
So, I mean, if Sony gets involved to the degree that they got involved with God of War, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. And if you get anybody that was part of the creation of the God of War game, that they can help, with understanding the lore, okay, you can make certain changes.
Right.
But again, follow the blueprint of what Last of Us is doing, and all of this will be successful for the most part.
Here's how they could fuck it up, and this is exactly the path that they would go, because it's what they always do. Is if instead of telling a story about a father and a son, they told a story about Kratos as a secondary character and then made Freya the main character.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. Almost guaranteed, because that is what modern storytelling is like.
But if I see, like I said, the reason I take pause on that is that God of War is one of the, if Sony has 4 pillars and it's like Horizon, God of War, Last of Us, and I'm trying to think what the 4th one would be, but they're not going to let those IPs, be trash. You're not going to get.
Hope not.
You're not going to get. A Capcom Monster Hunter.
You would hope not, but the problem is that they, just like with anything, that they listen to some of these woke activists in the writing room, and they
Right,
tell
I
them
guess
you have to do this. If you're gonna get slammed out there if you don't follow our blueprint. Oh, you're gonna have a hell of a time. And they bow to it, and they take the knee, and they let them write it, and all of a sudden, and it's a massive flop, and they're like, yeah, why did we do that?
We have had some of the worst fantasy cinema, television show, mainly TV,
Right.
in the last couple of years that we've ever had.
Right. Than we've ever had.
It's not even like maybe in a couple years we'll be able to go back and watch Willow as like a camp
Yeah.
adventure and just be like, wow, can you believe they thought this was actually good?
But think about like back in the 80s, right? Things like Dune, things like Krull, things like Tron, right?
Yeah.
They weren't the greatest movies by any stretch of the
but Crow
imagination.
has so much camp to it.
But they were still they had an audience.
Right.
And over time, that audience has grown because, there's camp to it, but there's nostalgia to it. And all of a sudden, you get that cult status, right? And people go back to it. And it's like, hey, it's fun. It's not a great movie, but I had a good time watching it. Then they're never going to look at these shows like that.
Like, for us, right? When something is as bad as like a Velma or say a Willow, that's great. That's easy pickings for content.
Sure.
Right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Because when I'm watching it, it's like work.
But the thing is, now that those shows are done,
yeah,
they're done. They're going to be forgotten about. They're going to be out of everybody's mind forever.
I hope they are, boogeyman, like a boogeyman of the fucking industry.
Sure.
Like you need to use that as we don't want another Velma.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, exactly. That's what you should be using it as. You should be, any type of like Battlefield Earth, right? The John Travolta movie.
But that was like a Scientology fucking.
No. But what I'm saying is, that's all. That's always your barometer, right?
Right.
Don't make that movie.
Right.
Don't be that. That's what Velma and Willow. That's what they're. The only reason you're ever going to talk about Velma or Willow is never be that.
And
that's it.
I got to tell you, the Velma thing I didn't care as much about.
Sure.
Because we have a lot of good scoop.
Right.
The Willow thing hurt, though.
Right. Well,
all we have is Willow.
Well, because we never, ever thought we were going to get anything else Willow.
No, and then you say you're going to make a TV show, and it's like, cool. And then they market it like Willow is very important in the series.
Yeah.
And then we got the schlock that we got.
Right. And then you got Warwick Davis to be back to star in it, right? So it's like, when they announced it, everybody that knows the Willow property were extremely excited about it. And then to do what you did to that property.
You know what it is, though, is that it was just Kit. Kit is the same as Ant-Man's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same person.
Right. It's the same as Ironheart.
It's the same as She-Hulk.
Right.
Like it's the
all
same.
the same character.
Right. And I just don't understand. Like, here's the thing. I'm all for a female protagonist.
Sure.
100%. But I want to get behind her.
Right.
I don't want it to be something that's like begrudgingly accepted.
Right.
Like, oh, well, I don't have a choice. No, I want to get behind you.
Yeah, we will absolutely get behind that character if you make that character likable and you make us want to support that character. I mean, the reason Rey didn't work is because what was there that we needed to get behind, right? I mean, the Force Awakens, immediately she was shitting on Han Solo. I'm better than you at this. I'm better than you at that. I'm better than Luke. In the first movie that we got, she was better than everyone that's ever been a part of the Star Wars lore. So it's like, you're not, you lost it right there. It was dead because you were never going to get behind that character. Why can't the new character, and not just female, but any new character, why can't they have some humility? Why can't they be humble to the greats that were before them and just live up to that legacy and strive to be that and achieve it? And maybe they get as good, maybe they do get better, but not the day one.
This is what it is, and I'm going to get some hate for what I'm about to say. It's what I like to call the fat model syndrome.
Oh, you can't say fat.
I'm saying it.
Oh,
as a fellow fatty.
Oh, there you go.
That's our word. I can say it.
Okay, you can say that.
And what I mean by the fat model syndrome is this. Generally, with anything, this doesn't have to do with entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be good at something, you have to work at it.
Sure.
So, for fat models, for example, right? Like, I'm not a good-looking dude, but I study the art.
Yeah.
And
I'm right there with you.
And I make the podcasts and stuff. So I'm bringing value.
Sure.
I'm not just saying, hey, look at me, look at me. I'm saying, here's our wares, look at the wares, and if you like them, look at me.
Yeah, exactly.
In the model industry, you have women that are starving themselves to be thin, and that's what it takes to be a model. Is you have to basically, you're not living a normal, average life.
Right. Yeah, you have a certain appearance that you need to portray to be a model.
Right.
That's
and so people,
well known.
that's the deal. It's like, hey, look at me. I've starved myself to get the physique I have
Right.
or whatever it is, right? And, this is what I'm bringing to the table. And you
Right.
say, all right, I'm going to look at you because that's not easy.
Right.
But with fat models, that's not the case. It's just they show up and they go, yeah, we're just as good as the women that are starving themselves, or even the men that are starving themselves.
Right.
There are no fat male models, by the way.
No.
Think about it.
Sure.
There aren't. There
No.
aren't.
No.
Right. Because for whatever reason. But my point to it is that it bleeds into Marvel. It's just that, these female protagonists show up, or whoever it is. For right now, it's predominantly female
Right.
protagonists.
It is.
And they're just immediately better. She-Hulk is better than Hulk, even though Hulk lost his friends and there's the history there and he saved the world. She's just better. Ironheart's better than Tony Stark just because she's better. Mm-hmm. There's no reason behind it.
Right.
Cassie's better.
Yep.
There's no reason behind it. She's just better.
Right.
I haven't lived any life. I know that, the only reason any of us are here is because you had the quantum powers, but I'm better.
Right. Well, and we've talked about this too.
Even Kit and Willow.
Right.
I'm better than everybody else.
Right.
And then at the end of the season goes, yeah, she is.
Yeah. But it's like, you have a superhero,
Right.
right? And they are not your everyday person. They are totally going to be at a much higher level than your average male/female.
Right.
And all of a sudden, somebody can just walk out of the blue and they're better than that superhero. So it's not that impressive anymore. If anybody can be that, then it's not impressive.
Well,
Hawkeye is impressive, right?
There's just nothing earned.
But I mean, you look at it and it's like, oh, Hawkeye, right? This guy, a master with the bow and arrow, right? But then there's this young girl. I just been practicing and now I'm as good as you are. Really? It's just that easy?
Right. That's the thing, though, is that, what you're doing is, and I'm not saying no to fat models. I'm just saying understand what it is.
Yeah.
You have these, traditional models that have starved themselves, and it's not good.
No, it's a bad,
but I'm
lifestyle
just saying,
to live. But
there's work and suffering and effort that goes into it. Mm-hmm. You just showed up and said, "Look at me," because you have to, and if you don't, you're a phobic.
Right. Exactly. And that's what's happening.
What?
Yeah.
It's happening with Hogwarts, right? Mm-hmm. What are these armchair activists actually bringing to the table? Everyone is a fucking armchair activist or an armchair philosopher.
Right.
Right? I mean, yeah, we're on here bitching about it, right? But that's not what I'm bringing to the table.
Right. Yeah, this is just a piece of what we do overall.
Right. We're artists.
Right. Exactly.
At the end of the day.
Right.
If the podcast got taken down because I said fat models, then I still got the store.
Right. Exactly.
You're still doing the art.
Right. Yeah.
It's just very, very frustrating that we're getting to this. And the thing is I'm cool with the inclusion. I'm cool with the fat models. But just understand that a lot of the resentment comes from the fact that you didn't earn it.
Right.
Just like a lot of the Nepo babies. Mm-hmm. Like the Nepo babies that don't have talent but are still in the industry, it's those people. The Nepo babies that do have talent, nobody cares. You're good.
Right. But the thing is, it's also how tone deaf the parents of the Nepo babies are.
Well, speaking of Nepo, did you see that shit with South Park?
Oh.
How funny is that?
You know what? I haven't enjoyed South Park in a very long time, and I laughed my ass off with this.
I didn't like South Park. Obviously, I watched the first episode live. Mm-hmm. Probably up until season 10, you can't even go back. It's just fart jokes and it's very lowbrow humor.
Yeah, exactly.
When they switched to they make an episode a week.
Yeah.
When they switch to that formula, it's gotten much better because it's current.
Yeah.
They're making fun of current events now.
Right. I mean, I remember watching South Park on VHS before it came out on TV, and you had to get these pirated copies. And I'm like, this was going to be something. And you knew it, right? And then it did. Obviously, it exploded. But then it lost its luster, and it's like, it's just the same joke over and over again. And I haven't been a fan of South Park in a very, very long time. But then this came out.
This was hilarious.
And I'm like, this was absolutely hilarious. It couldn't have nailed these two assholes any better than it did.
And what's incredible is that, like, you see, like, and when the Queen died, we talked about it.
Right,
I was
talked
like,
about
it's
it.
so weird. It's such a weird mentality and everything.
Right. And for all our fans in the UK, I think, and still to this day think that the royal family is the most stupid thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah, it's just a weird concept, right? Like, they don't really bring anything to the table. It's not like they're making laws.
No, they do nothing.
But as far, like, but even if you want to argue, like, all right, it's the king, you know, whatever.
Sure.
These two motherfuckers.
Yeah.
This shit,
worthless.
It's incredible to me.
Yeah.
It's incredible to me because I don't even have the words for it. It's just, you have been given your life on a silver platter.
Both of them.
Both of them. And it's not enough.
No.
And what's even funnier is you can straight faced say, well, we're victims. What?
Right.
Victims of what?
Yeah. Look, that Netflix documentary that came out, you were in full control of it. That was your documentary. It got savaged because of how disingenuous these two pieces of shit are. And then because of that, we want our privacy. No, you fucking don't.
No, you just were hoping that this was going to kick off your Hollywood career.
Right.
Like, here's the thing, is that Meghan Markle is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
She divorced her husband to marry Harry because she wanted to be a princess, and then didn't like what being a princess actually means.
Right.
And said, all right, we're going to just go back to Hollywood, and now instead of just being on a shitty TV show, people are going to come around knocking because I get to rub elbows with the upper echelon of the elites. But you're a piece of shit.
Right.
And you don't know how to play in those circles.
Right. Right. And now you hear she has aspirations of running for the presidency. Who in their right mind? And I preface that by saying, I know that there are some people as crazy as them that would probably want to vote for her. But at the end of the day, she is going to get destroyed if she actually tries to get into politics.
Well, she's not good at anything.
No.
That's what it is.
Right.
It's just like, it's not like you have a niche.
No, she is not a talent at all.
No.
She just exists for the sake of existing.
And here's the thing. You had an opportunity with this South Park thing to turn it all around.
Right.
All you had to do was laugh and go, that was pretty good. We liked it.
Yeah.
But instead you said, we're going to try to sue them.
Yeah.
And it's like, people have been trying to sue South Park for almost 30 years.
Right. The only thing that you're going to do
is make yourself look even shittier.
No, of course that. But you're going to take it out of rotation, right? That's it.
No, you're not.
No, but that's the best you can do. At the end of the day, the best you're going to be able to do is get them to take it out of rotation. But everybody has already seen it. Everybody will continue to see it through YouTube and whatever else. But that's all you're going to be able to get them to do is not play it in heavy rotation. You're not going to sue them. Everybody's tried. Everybody's failed. It's parody. You're never going to win.
Right,
you could have just accepted it.
All you had to do was laugh.
Yeah,
like,
but to sit there and say that she's been crying for days after this came out because of how hurtful it is, what the fuck are you talking about?
Here's the thing, is that I hear shit like that, and I think to myself, like, what? Am I supposed to feel bad for you? Because you got your likeness on South Park? Let them make fun of me.
Sure. But accept the fact that what they said was 100% legitimate as well.
Right, holding the mirror up a little too close to reality, I think.
That's exactly what it was.
Just the worst. I got to tell you, I don't know what she did to get Harry under her spell.
Yeah. and that's the thing. He's basically disowned by his family because of this, and at some point, it's not going to work forever with these two.
They tried to fucking So here's the thing: is they don't have anything to offer anymore.
No, nothing.
Because he released his book,
right,
and that's it.
Right.
You've aired your dirty laundry.
Yeah, that's it. You went on your talk shows to talk about it.
But, you don't have anything else now.
No, you're done. And she's been done for a very long time as far as any type of usefulness. You held up a briefcase, lady. That was your 15 minutes of fame.
No, she was on Suits, too.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she was a lawyer in Suits. But what's incredibly funny to me is that instead of accepting that it wasn't going to work out for you in Hollywood, but somehow you became a princess or a duchess or whatever the fuck they call them.
Right.
You said no. I'm still going to I'm still the main character, and it's just like, but you're not.
Right.
You never were the main character.
Right. Exactly.
And so it's where do you? There's really nowhere to go.
No, they're gonna disappear into obscurity. At some point there'll be a divorce. Harry will go back to his family, and I don't know what will happen with her. She'll try to parlay that into some sort of victim play.
Yeah, she'll put it all on him. It was all his fault. I didn't want to do this, and
exactly.
It's just incredible. It's incredible the mental gymnastics that someone like that has to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there are people look, even we don't have it that bad.
No.
There are people that have it bad.
Sure. Absolutely.
And to sit there and cry about us because you don't like the way South Park portrayed you.
Yeah.
You are you're Ellen DeGeneres level unlikable.
Mm-hmm. And that's saying something.
And they're saying she was a terror to the staff.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Just the worst. All right. With that, let's put this one to bed.
Okay.
Jim, as always, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no. Absolutely.
What do you got going on?
Just getting the art out, right? Every single week. Preparing. We got some news coming up, so we're preparing.
Yeah, a couple weeks away probably before
we'll
drop
talk about it at some point, but getting in preparation for things that are happening in the not so distant future.
Give me a little Mystery Science Theater.
There it is.
Yeah, I caught your Svengoolie.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's trending.
I don't know either, but for whatever reason, it's getting more and more popular. So, and again, big fan, but
that's great.
I
That
love
sounds
it,
good to me. All right, guys. So you know where we're at. CatalystCrafting.com is the main website. Catalyst Creations NH is the Etsy store. Coming up to 1,000 orders.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, did you catch the menu? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? How do you feel about the Roald Dahl situation? I mean, or Roald Dahl, I should say his name, right? Do you think it's good to change classic works of literature? Did you see Ant-Man? Did you like it? Did you think that MODOK's CGI was the pinnacle of special effects? And where do you stand on Harry and Meghan? I mean, do you think that South Park got it right? Do you think they are actually victims? Let me know in the comments. By the way, like and subscribe on the social platforms because we're growing relatively quickly.
Yep,
so we
absolutely
appreciate you guys that are doing it. But keep it going. Share it with your friends. All right, crew. We'll catch you on the next one.